تبارك الله رب العالمين.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الذي جعل ذكره طمأنينة للقلوب وجلاء لها نرين الذنوب ومطرات لوسواس الخناس المكذوب، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد الداعي إلى كل فعل محبوب وأمر مطلوب، وعلى آله وأصحابه المقتفين سبيله على خير أسلوب. أما بعد، فيقول رب تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المنزل: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقضى ربك ألا تعبدوا إلا إياه وبالوالدين إحسانا. صدق الله العظيم. Allah has decreed that you should worship none but Him, and that you should show kindness to parents. Continuing today in our fourth lesson on parent-child relations. Last week we dealt with the guidance that has come from the Quran in the form of 3 general guidance and 3 specific guidance, and through it a multitude of exhortation. And I told you that the 3 general ones were ihsan, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, and خَفْضُ الْجَنَاحِ, جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, lowering of the wing of humility, and speaking to them in kind with kind words, choosing words that are not harsh. And we also talked about the 3 specific exhortations in the Quran in which we're told that وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَنْهَرْهُمَا. Today, inshallah, we will be speaking about خَفْضُ الْجَنَاحِ. But before I do so, I want to quickly recap on the 6 imperatives that are related to ihsan, which we discussed last week. And the first was having Allah in front of you. يقول الله نصب عينيك, that Allah should be ever present in your mind, in the sense that knowing that Allah is seeing you when you're interacting with your parents and your conduct with your parents, to have that look, one day I will have to stand and face Allah and answer questions in regard to this relationship. So أن يكون الله نصب عيناك, that Allah should be in front of you, and that fits in with the primary meaning of ihsan, and تعبد الله كأنك تراه, that you should worship Allah as though you see Him, for verily if you see Him not, know that He sees you. The second one was cultivating a sense of reward, that knowing that this is your ticket to Jannah, that and if you fail in this, then there is you will not. That Rasulullah said, "Raghima anfu, raghima anfu, raghima anfu," that may he be disgraced in the dirt, may his face be, his nose be disgraced in the dirt. 3 times, repeatedly, and they asked, who are you speaking about? And he said that man adraka abawayh, that whoever meets one of his parents, or both of them or one of them, and he does not enter paradise as a result of that. As a result, because that's the opportunity, that's a golden opportunity for entering paradise, and you do not use it such that you end up into paradise by having that opportunity with your parents in old age. So that was number 2, having that sense of reward, and particularly in the adolescent years where you have a heightened sense of your reward systems are functioning at a higher level than normal adults. And then number 3 was self-control, controlling of the anger. Kadm al-ghayz, in that you are required to control your impulses of anger, because that will lead to a harshening of the voice, and with the harshening of the voice, it shreds the heart of the parents. And so it is important for you to maintain and know that, look, they are getting old. You have grown up and they're growing down. As the ayah said, was that people grow old. And وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرَدُّ إِلَىٰ أَرْذَلِ الْعُمُرِ لِكَيْ لَا يَعْلَمَ مِنْ بَعْدِ عِلْمٍ شَيْئًا. That some of you will be made to return to old age, where you would not know the things that you used to know. And of course, when the lack of knowledge, you will behave like a child again. And it is for the child to recognize this and to understand that, look, my parent is not the same as he was or she was in her prime. When she was in her prime, that she is now going through difficulty. And there are changes. And they are going to do things that you might find difficult to deal with, and you will have to control. Kadhmul ghayz is required there, and this is the muhsin that Allah loves. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsinin. Man, these people, the people who control their and wa'afina anil nas, and those who are forgiving. So self-control, anger management, and forgiveness was number 3. Number 4 was seeking perfection. That كتب الله الإحسان على كل شيء. That Allah has written ihsan on all, perfection. So if you're doing it, do it to perfection. Don't do it with khanapuri, as they say. Don't do it with such only to show people or for ulterior motives. Do it for the pleasure of Allah, to perfection. And number 5 was spending time and wealth. You have to. This will require you to spend of what you have, what you love. You love your time, you love your wealth. You'll have to spend it. الذين ينفقون سرا وعلانية. So spending it in secret and openly, in order to gain Allah's pleasure. And number 6 was dua, the dua that Allah is calling you to say at this point in your life when these brain changes are going wrong, particularly because you're vulnerable and shaitan will want you to fail at this particular juncture, this vulnerable time. So Allah is reinforcing it. Allah is helping you to reinforce. He is saying, well, you have to say, Rabbi awzi'ni an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayhi. So you're reinforcing these in your mind and building on that. Now today I want to talk to you about the second the second general exhortation in the Quran, which is وَاغْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. Lower onto your parents, the two of them, the wing of humility and of mercy. Now, this is what is known in Arabic as isti'ara. It is a metaphor. Allah is using a metaphor. So He's speaking about the lowering of wing. So wing belongs to birds. Now, we know in the expression of Allah's mercy into the world, it is shared upon all animals, all the creatures, all the human beings, all the jinn. This is أنزل في الدنيا رحمة واحدة بين الجن والإنس والبهائم والهوام, even the insects. So we all have expressions of that mercy, but in different ways. It's expressed, for instance, a fish, the salmon, the expression of their love, of their rahmah, is in the long journey that they take in order to find a safe place to lay the egg, and that's it. Once they lay the egg, that's done. Their job is finished. So the hardship, the mercy, the expression of the mercy is in the journey they take to lay the egg in a safe place. So that expression is not immediately visible. But when it comes to other animals, we see that expression of love and dedication and sacrifice even more apparent. You can see it. And one of the animals in which you see that vividly is in birds. Birds take care of their young. Their expression of the rahmah is that of the mercy of Allah is one of dedication. They feed them every hour. They make journeys. A bird makes about 100 journeys every day to bring food, and we see the dedication that they put in building the nest. And even in the after the bird has fledged, you will still see them sometimes feeding, and that is all a result of that mercy, the power of that mercy that Allah has shared with them. So in the expression of birds, Allah is using the example of birds, and He's saying that, look, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. So one of the things that a bird does in taking care, in expressing this mercy and compassion to the love, is that it lowers its wings to hug and keep its young with warmth, and to protect them and to guide them as well. So, and this is why the Imam Shashi says, إِذَا أَرَادَ ضَمَّ فَرْخِهِ إِلَيْهِ لِلتَّرْبِيَةِ خَفَضَ لَهُ جَنَاحَهُ. That when he wants to train them, he keeps them under his wings. وَلِهَذَا السَّبَبْ صَارَ خَفْضُ الْجَنَاحِ كناية عن حسن التربية. فكأنه يقول للولد اكفل والديك بأن تضمهما إلى نفسك كما فعلا ذلك بك حال صغرك. He said that and this is why this has now become an example to use about good caring and good training and good taking care of, as if you're just being said to the child now, is that you should draw your parents close to you and keep them close to you under your wing, as they did when you were small. They kept you close. They did not push you away. They kept you close under their wing for protection at the time when you were small. So that's one of the first meanings. The second meaning that is attached to birds is that when a bird is flying, and they say that إن الطائر إذا أراد الطيران والارتفاع نشر جناحه. That when a bird wants to elevate himself, when a bird wants to go high, it raises its wings. It spreads its wings. And when so نشر جناحه وإذا أراد ترك الطيران وترك الارتفاع خفض جناحه وصار. So he's saying that when the bird wants to go up, it spreads its wings and then flaps it, spread and flaps. But when it wants to descend, it pulls its wing in. It lowers the wing into his body. It folds it in to its body so that it can come down. It descends with the folding of the wing. And they're saying because of this, فصار خفض الجناح كناية عن فعل التواضع من هذا الوجه. And this is why the lowering of the wing is now used as an example for humility, for you coming down. You're not growing up because you have grown up and your parents are now growing down. They are getting weak, both physically and mentally, and you are getting stronger both physically and mentally. So you're up, you're on your high horses. So it is about changing that mentality. And this exhortation is about your general body language. This is what it's about. It's about body language. And we are being called upon here to check our body language when we speak to our parents, when we are with our parents. We're told that you have to bring yourself down. You have to lower yourself and not be that big haughty person. It's instead of highness, and smugness and haughtiness. It is lowliness and humbleness and meekness and submissiveness. This brings us to the other of this exaltation, because this ayah was revealed with two different qira'at. One is janah al-dhulli, which is the qira'at al-jamhur, but then you have other qira'ats, which is janah al-dhilli. Dhil is used to describe docility in an animal. When an animal becomes docile, a home animal that does everything that you want, and that is called docility. So janah al-dhilli min al-rahmati is docility, to become docile. Docility is the opposite to arrogance and haughtiness and smugness. It is about lowering yourself and being humble and being someone who recognizes that, look, my parents are growing down and I'm high, so I should not express that highness and that haughtiness in front of them. I should also lower myself to lower than them in that sense. So, and this is why الذل في الدابة, and this is Imam al-Fat said, الذل في الدابة ضد الصعوبة. It is a docility in the animal is the opposite to difficulty with an animal. Someone who is really difficult to get them to do something is that you have to beg them, you have to say it 10 times. No, that's not how it works. That for parents, you should be attentive to what they say. Just like they were attentive to every coo that came out of your mouth when you were young. Every cry, they were attentive to it. They did not ignore you. So, for that reason, dhil is part of this. And finally, rahmah. In regard to rahmah, he said, وَجَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ. And this is a compound meaning. It's exaltation upon exaltation upon exaltation, to watch what you're doing and to check yourself, check your body language, how you carry yourself. Not only words, but body language. So he's saying, look, مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. So Imam Qurtubi explains this. He says that إِنَّ هَذَا الْخَفْض يَكُونُ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ الْمُسْتَكِنَّةِ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ الْمُسْتَكِنَّةِ فِي النَّفْسِ لا يكون ذلك استعمالا. That this rahmah, this mercy that you will show to your parents does not emanate from some ulterior motive, some calculation about what you're going to get from the parent in terms of legacy or inheritance and all the other things for which great tragedies happen in our day nowadays. But what we need to do is that this should come from genuine mercy in your heart, feeling the mercy, having because once you identify the fact that your parents were kind to you because of that special mercy that Allah has placed in their mind, in their hearts, and that special mercy, you share it also. You have it. You will use it for your own children. So why can't you share it with your parents? So it should come from that perspective, not from a transactional perspective, not from a transactional position. You're controlling your body. The way you approach them. You're controlling the way you speak to them. You're controlling your general approach. So it's with qawl, it is your speech and your actions and your eyes. Eyes is very important, because in the tafsir of this ayah, in the explanation of this verse, the ulama have written, they've said that, look, Ata ibn Abi Rabah, Urwat ibn Zubayr, they said that وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ قال لا تحد بصرك إليهما إجلالا وتعظيما, that you should not turn the use of the eye, do not stare at them in a state of anger and where it is bellowing anger. Sometimes we don't say things, but just a glance, the look alone conveys so much. And notice that your parents, you should bear this in mind, that your parents know the features of your face more than anyone else will do, because they've spent years just staring at your face out of love. So they know when they see your eye with anger in it and bellowing with fire of the rage, then that is conveyed. They receive it. They understand it. So you have to be careful with your eyes, how you look at your parents. So basaruk, he said that ijlalan. He said that this is, and for this we have also the qawl of Aisha radiallahu, which is hadith marfu'. He said that ما بر أباه من حد إليه طرفه, that a person will not be considered to be a kind person to their parents, the one who looks at their parents with that stern eye, the one who stares at their parents, stare them down, how dare you do this, how dare you say that. But that is all being conveyed through the eye. So he's saying that you will not be considered, that you cannot claim to be obedient when you use this kind of stern eye with them. So it's about body language. And to close today, I want to leave you with the story of Amr ibn Maymun ibn Mihran, which is a great scholar. Tariq, his hadith, he's one of the persons in the chains of narration in both Bukhari and Muslim. Great muhaddis, who is venerated heavily. And Imam Halabi writes about him. He said, حدثني Amr spoke to me and reported, he said, قال خرجت بأبي أقوده. He said, I went out one day with my father. أقوده في بعض سكك البصرة. That I took my father out and we were walking in some of the streets of Basra. فمررت بجدول. And we came upon a drain. فلم يستطع الشيخ أن يتخطاه. But the sheikh, he's referring to his father as a sheikh. In other words, my old father, my weak father, wasn't able to cross that drain. And the drains are carrying all sorts of mud and despicable things that you don't want to touch, so you want to jump over. But the father is unable to do so. So this great sheikh, who is one of the chains of narrations in Bukhari and Muslim, this big sheikh what does he do? He does, in the true sense, what is literally, and this is the ultimate expression of a person who understands وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, the one who understands the lowering of the wing of humility, of mercy to your parents. And what does he do? He says, فَاتَّجَعْتُ لَهُ فَمَرَّ عَلَى ظَهْرِي. So I lay down across the drain into the mud and let my father walk on top of me so he can cross. That is what he did. Now, we are not being asked to do this, But what we're being asked, here is an example of a person who truly understands the verse in the Quran, وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. That he put himself all the way down. He's doing it literally, physically, he's putting his body down. This is lowering yourself, as opposed to the bird that spreads its wing to rise higher and higher over the parents and speaking to them from above. He's lowering himself and coming down and saying, look, I did this. So if you understand this, if you understand the true meaning of this, of the waqf al-janah al-dhulli, then you will control your eyes, you will control the way you speak to them, you will control. Ibn Sirin, when he used to speak to his spirit, another great scholar, when he used to speak to his mother, people used to say that if you don't know him, you will think that he has some disability. How much he used to lower his voice and be careful what he says to her. So the body language conveyed that rahmah, conveyed that mercy, conveyed the things that in response to the mercy, it's the hal jaza'ul ihsan illa al ihsan. What is the reward for kindness except to repay it in kindness. So this is what we are called upon to do today. That to make sure that our body language doesn't convey, while we might say all the right things, but our body language is contradicting what we are saying, because a large part of communication is, as you know, is body language. May Allah give us the ability to recognize His command in the Quran, for it is the benefit of following the guidance is for our own selves. We will benefit from it, no one else. May Allah bless you and help you as kind and compassionate and loving children to your parents, and as parents to guide your children such that they do not lose the connection with the mercy. فَمَنْ وَصَلَهَا وَصَلْتُ وَمَنْ قَطَعَهَا قَطَعْتُ. As Allah says, the one who maintains this linkage of the mercy, silatul rahim, the linkage with His name, Rahman, then Allah is saying that He will maintain His mercy with you. And for those who cut it, Allah will cut His mercy. May Allah protect us from that. وَجَزَاكُمُ اللَّهُ خَيْرًا وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ.
تبارك الله